Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Spirit Bubble
Hello,
with Kara.
hello. I'm Mama.
I know it has been a really hot minute here. Um,
Y- Yes, it
what
has.
can
It has been quite a while since we've been able to get together.
I know? So it's exciting to be able to get jump back into it again and just do
I
it.
really agree. I'm right there with you. I'm loving that we're getting the chance to dive back in and get another recording going.
Yeah, I guess mainly just kind of the biggest thing, and some of you guys have probably been feeling this too, is like some of the other friends that have been in contact with and communication have kind of had similar a phase, I guess. It's been, lately it's just been just this phase of just like chaotic, negative energy going. And like
Oh my gosh.
it's
Yes.
so many lives, so many people that we know, including ourselves.
Absolutely. It has been with you and I, with our friends, it just maybe feels like it's a worldwide thing that we're going through a low period of energy and chaos that's just it's hitting us all and we're feeling the weight of low energy and that is no matter the details of how it hits you, it makes the moments hard to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. To each their own situation, and it just seems like there's this standstill of like progress happening because we're all struggling to get through this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But for me, one of the wonderful things about knowing others are going through it is that others are going through it. It's helpful to know you aren't alone when you're down. I felt low and like it's isolating and it's hard to get through. But then when I would reach out to my friends for comfort, for just energy sharing, to know that they weren't in the best place. Not that I wish them low or
Mm-hmm.
hard times, but to hear them say, yeah, man, I'm really going through it too. It hits you because, like, they understand, they get it. And you're like, oh, man, somebody understands me. Thank you. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I already told you about my situation, and that itself
Oh,
was a
goodness.
recovery.
That that was something you really had to go through, and I'm so glad you're getting on to the other side of that.
Yeah, I think in due time, it's, and this is harder. I mean, it's easier to say than it is to do, but sometimes in those kind of circumstances, it just turns into one of these things where, like, yes, we can sit here and we can mope and we can, like, feel down and huddle and hide, but at some point, when you realize that you're not progressing anything from it, like, it's time to see past it.
Yep, it's time to take a deep breath and let it go because you can only dwell in it for so long before it's just time to move on. And
Yeah.
like it comes to that place and that happened to me last night. Like
Oh.
I had been dwelling in my low for so long and then just out of the blue without any provocation or instigation of any outside source, I felt the energy shift and it was just like a lift to the mood and I was like, "Yep, it's time to let it go."
Yeah.
And it it was a deep breath, a release and skyrocket into a better mood.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, for the past few days, just the thought of having to come home and deal with it in my own head, it just, I dreaded having to even think about it. So it's just like a constant seek for escape, you know? And I kind of had an interesting little relief yesterday, too. You know, it's just like, it was almost like somebody he'd come and taken those burdens off my shoulder and said, you know what, no more.
I love the synchronicity of that. We both had it yesterday. It was like the
Yeah.
universe was like, you are done. Let it go. Move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Part of me also thinks that maybe these experiences that we've all been going through too, because you know we've been going through a huge age of enlightenment. We've been going through a huge age of flying and soaring and the good vibes. I kind of sometimes suspect that maybe this whole wave of energy that had happened to several of us is almost sort of like a wake up call to remind us, hey, don't forget, you're human. Don't forget, there are downtimes. Don't forget, you need to remember how to rise from those, you know?
I think that's so true. And that was something I kept telling myself as I was going through the low, that life is ebbs and flows, that like
Mm.
you can ride the high as long as you can manage to ride the high. Like get yourself up there and coast along and enjoy it as long as you can. But like recognize that it's only going to last so long because everything does come to an end. And so the ebbs
Mm.
and flows come, and my ebb came and it was hard. And I
Yeah, I
didn't
know,
want it.
right?
It wasn't like I was like, welcome, ebb, let's do this. But like, but I did tell myself that yes, I had been soaring for so long and it was time to go through it and feel that low, because there are very real people out there that feel that low constantly and never know how to get out of it. So, even in that sense where I know how to soar, I can relate to those that are down in that ebb constantly and parallel with them as I go through it. So it gives me a chance to remind myself of what others are going through, even though I prefer to coast up in the higher all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know given the choice, we probably would choose to coast up in the highs at all point. We probably could, but if we didn't experience those lows, like you said, you know, how does it make it any easier to relate to those that are going through it?
Exactly. It gives us that chance to parallel with others who are going through it in very real ways.
Mm.
Because and even more magically, we were going through it at the same time. So like I came down and I'm suffering and I'm reaching out to people to check on them and see how they're doing, and they're all suffering as well, and it's like, yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's talk about this. Let's get
I
through this,
know. It just seemed
So
like everyone in our circle that we reached out to, you know?
it really did. It was like a community of going through just a low energy period. So, like, it really makes me feel like it was just something we all needed to go through, whether it was the timing of the cosmos, a solar flare, or, however it
Yeah.
manifests that causes these things to happen. I feel we went through it together. And like,
Mm-hmm.
now I feel like we're coming out of it together because, like, I'm reaching out to my friends and they're like, hey, I'm feeling great today. And I'm like, me too.
Yes. Did we have a retrograde or something? I mean,
It feels that way. It really does. I haven't been
mm-hmm.
keeping up on that stuff, but like it feels like something happened. I know when I was in the low, I remember somebody mentioning that there was a solar flare going on. So I
Really?
thought, okay, that makes sense. An intense fluctuation in solar energy could create like uh a low that we go through as we feel the weight of that energy on
Mm.
us. And
Yeah.
then, as we learn to alchemize that energy, then we learn to boost up and lift in the soaringness of having extra energy. So now we're lifting up and feeling the light of the solar flare, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's to say?
Hey, I mean, who knows? That could have been, and just, it's like when you're so connected to the energies of the spiritual world and the universe and stuff, it's so funny how things like that affect you.
It is. It really is because you feel one with everything. And so it's just natural to connect to all that's going on. And you can't always put words to what
Mm.
you're feeling and how that connection is manifesting. But goodness gracious, you feel that connection, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. It's just, for the longest time, when I first started this whole thing, and started learning about retrogrades, at first I could notice that I was really affected by retrogrades. And to me, that was almost like a sign saying, uh, less of, hey, you're having trouble, but more of, hey, you are connected. It was like a reminder that I was connected, that I was in communication, that I was in that. And then I stopped feeling the effects of it. And I guess this is just, it's like a reminder saying, hey, you know what? You're still connected to everything.
Yep. Twinsies, because like when I first started my spiritual journey, I noticed that the full moon
Mm.
really affected me. And so like I I was moved by it, and it was like weird to me that every full moon I was shifting and like, hey, why am I going through phases of the full moon? But it felt awesome to be shifting with the universe. And so
Mm-hmm.
it brought me closer to know that I'm in unison, in
Yeah.
alignment with the movement of the cosmos. Like,
Yeah.
as small as I am, this little speck on this planet, I'm moving in unison with all that is. That brought me peace because even though I felt wonky and out of control and in chaos, like there was still that
Mm-hmm.
gentle balance that every day I was moving along with all that is. And it just felt good to know. And like to this day, I'm still in alignment. I'm still moving.
Yeah.
And it still feels good, you know?
It's a reminder that we are definitely still in oneness with everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. At first I had a thought in my head, but I guess it must not have been important because I can't remember it.
Oh, I love when that happens. You know, you have that thought and then you let someone else finish theirs and then it goes away and you're like, oh, sad
like,
day.
oh, what was that? Okay. But yeah, things, I think that things are definitely popping up. I'm hoping that it's popping up for others too that have been going through this with us. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, the best that we can do is we can just get up from this and remember what we were supposed to from the days prior, and then just work on building ourselves back up, and maybe that'll remind us, who we are, and keep us in alignment with humanity, so we can be more in line with just everything, you know.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that I was reminded as I was going through the low was the capacity for the human spirit to endure. Like
Mm.
it's it's just remarkable the quality that we have to just keep going even when we're down, even when we're low, and even when we don't know how we're going to get through. We have that push to just keep going, and we get through. Even through, I mean, there's so much awful stuff that happens in our world, and so
Oh,
many things that people have to live through, but they do, and they get through it. And that to me is just the remarkable spirit of of humanity. And like I love that. And that's going through that low. It just
yeah.
reminded me of that because I was down and I was beaten and I wasn't feeling my up and joy that I'm so used to. But even with that lack of positive energy, I got through my moments, and I did so with grace and comfort and you know that attachment to all that is because that's what we do. We get through. And I think that's something that I'd love to share with people, because even when
Yeah.
you're up against the wall and you don't know how you're going to make it to the next moment, you're going to get there, because
Mhm.
you can do it. We all can do it. And so it's just, it's magical, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess in a sense it's compared almost to like the whole light at the end of the tunnel, right? While we were going through this and we were in our most negative states, it almost looked like there was no light. Like you're so blinded by your own stress of it all that you didn't even like look for it, but then you didn't even realize how close you were actually to it until it just hit you.
Yes,
And
that's
here we
exactly it.
are.
I love that.
Yeah. And here we are,
That's
this whole time we've been going day by day closer to this light without even realizing that we were getting that close. And then we wake up today and we're like, bam, I feel better.
Here's the light.
Yeah! Yeah!
I love that. That is such a good point, that we blind ourselves with our stresses and anxieties, that we don't realize that the light is, it's always there. It's
Mm-hmm.
always there to see. But we distract ourselves with the negative side of things. And then the light hits us and it comes back and we're like, "Oh yeah, there it is. Haha, I see you."
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Um, so it's just nice to know that we're back. We're rising. We're starting to fly again. Uh, you guys definitely, all of you that have been experiencing this low, this negative energy, you're not alone. Because here we're testifying. We've experienced it too. That's the only reason why we haven't updated until now is because both she and I, we have been going through our experience of it, and it's taken away the energy to be able to just get on and talk in front of the camera.
Right. It really has. It's hard to come in front of a camera and be all kinds of personality and then add low energy, and it doesn't feel,
Yeah,
it's hard. So
yeah,
I'm glad we're back, and I'm glad we've had this conversation, and like
absolutely. Yeah, you guys are not alone in your struggles. We're both here with you, but like, just even us rising up and being here with you guys today, I mean, that alone is even a sign that we're starting to crawl out of that hole. And if we can do it, we know you can.
absolutely. Just keep on fighting, and not even fighting, just keep on breathing. Take a moment by moment and it's going to come. The light is going to find you because it's
Mhm.
there. Even if you can't see it right now, it's around the corner for you. Just
Oh,
keep going.
oh yeah, quite literally. Quite
Right?
literally. But we thank you guys so much for joining us on this discussion. If you guys know that you've been struggling with this, have anything you want to share or contribute about your experience through this, or if you have any idea, was it a solar flare?
Was it? I'd like to
No, I mean,
know.
just feel free, comment, share. Let's discuss it. We'd love to make sure we can all see each other through this because I'm telling you what, we're on an upward path. We can keep it upwards.
Yep, with lively discussion, comments, and conversation, it all keeps the ball rolling.
Yes. So definitely leave us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your struggles through this weird energy has been, and if you're finding you're up to. And we definitely look forward to our next video, and we're gonna be definitely looking a lot better by then for sure.
That's the hope.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We look forward to talking to you and sharing next time around. So, thank you so much for staying with us. I know it's been a gap, but we're still here.
Yes, we are. We'll see you soon.
Yay!